Welcome to another edition of Moore's Roland Point Blank, the show where we talk about the major issues of the day and we go out on point blank. Of course, you're watching the new and abridged version of Moore's Roland Point Blank too, a half-an-hour program, so we can really get at the issues. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the security issues in Indonesia, the military and the rest. This, interplays with the economy. It interplays with everything. It's one of the major concerns that all of us have whenever polling is done. In that regard, who better to comment on that than Pak Juanda, the famed military analyst and probably the most well-known military and analyst in this country. Pak Juanda, thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you.
Pak, I wanted to frame my first question to you in terms of the history over the past 7 years and then where we are today. It was very easy 7 years ago or 8 years ago. We had a very powerful president, a military president, who knew probably exactly, well, he had 32 years to practice. He knew exactly what he wanted with the police, with the military, with the intelligence services. He knew how to organize it. He knew how to manage it very well. Over the last several years, we've had non-military presidents, less powerful presidents and the rest. And probably they didn't know as well how to manage that. Number one, is that an accurate reflection? Number two, today we have again a military president in SBY who knows exactly what he wants. Is he putting it all back together where it can be more tightly controlled than it has been over the last several years?
Well, in my opinion, it depends on the quality of the leaderships and the statesmanships. So Suharto has these two quality, the high quality leaderships and statesmanships. When he become president, he knows that his lack of information, lack of everything, especially also lack of analysis about the problem of this state, about the problem of the nation. And he's a good listener. He's able to listen to the analysts, to the experts. So he's able to contemplate. He's able to create. He's able to imagine what kind of nation, what kind of state he would like to create. So this is the first thing that you should know.
Yep.
Second, when he knows already the problem, he's able to plan. And he is someone who is very based his thinking, his mindset from planning. Of course, because he is a military general, so you know that everything should be planned, should be well planned. And then also, Suharto is someone I can assume as a despot, a cleric. He's a despot, he's an autocrat, but he's able to use the right man on the right place.
But he was in control.
Of course.
He knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
And he listened, and then he made decisions and told people, here's what we're going to do.
So comparing with the situations of today.
Well, let's talk about the presidents after.
Yeah. And then also he is very influenced by what we call the principles of the Javanese king.
Okay.
As you know, that the Javanese ethnic group is the majority of Indonesia, maybe the most civilized ethnic groups in this country, these vast countries. And then the Javanese has the long history and the long philosophical pensée to give Suharto some, what we call it, some directions to follow. For example, as a king, as a leader, as a statesman, Suharto used the Mangkunagaras, you know, one of the Indonesian, the Javanese principalities, Mangkunagaras principles. And creating Indonesia, according to his will, he used also the Javanese approach. Tata tentrem kertara harja. It means should be well managed, tata. And then tentrem should be stabilized, So he will not tolerate instabilizations. And the third one, Kertara Harja, good life and happiness. Good life means, for the Javanese, is very, what we call it, not very, very, what we call it, the richness, the affluent, but enough. That is a Tata Tantram Kertara Harja. And then also, for becoming a leader, he used the Tridharma from Mangkunegaran. He said that this is my possession. When I have this, my possession, I should keep my possession, and I should secure my possession, and I defend all the possession. The possession is the interest of him. And the third one, of course, he should control himself, the critics and the autocritics, but for himself, not critics by the others. He doesn't want to be criticized.
Yeah.
This is the principles. This is two of the principles, Javanese leadership and statesmanship, that is written in the Suharto's biography.
Yeah.
So I'm able to imagine that he is really a leader and a statesman for his time.
Since Suharto, though, there's been a lot of turbulence because there's a lot of powerful institutions, military institutions, that some are winners, some are losers,
Yes.
right, at various times, especially when you have weaker leaders that don't know how to manage things maybe as well as him. How much turbulence has been caused over the years by these over the last 7 years, by these very powerful institutions basically not knowing where they stand at any one given moment?
Don't forget that the power of Suharto, political power of Suharto, supported by the military.
Right.
And the military has what we call it, the inheritance, the mindset, the school of thought to become or being the holder or the legitimate holder of the power, political power. And when they are in the positions of being cornered by the civilian, so the frictions is there.
Right.
And the frictions between military and civilian is still occurring. And then so it's depend on both sides, because until today I don't see any consensus, any compromise, any cooperations and collaborations between these two.
I mean, there's a competition, isn't there?
Maybe not only competition, but I can say this is the rivalry and also the friction.
Yeah.
And that it can manifest in such kind of tension or in such kind of conflict or whatever.
Yeah. Let's talk about one of the ways that, a very dangerous way that it could manifest. In other countries, we've seen extremist groups, or we read that extremist groups are proxy armies, so to speak, for certain vested interests. I mean, in truth, in Indonesia, can these extremist groups survive without the cover in some way of the military, the intelligence, the police, whether it's official, unofficial, rogue, whatever you call it? Could extremist groups survive, and are they being used for maybe some of these turbulent reasons?
Yes, of course, the extremist group will exist following the history. But of course, the political factions, the political fractions, and the political rivalries can use these groups for their own vested interests. So they are used or abused, and then they are used for the purpose of what we call it, the political gain. For example, creating the destabilizations. For example, creating the opinion, creating the perceptions, creating the what we call it, or breaking the networks. So everything can be used.
So for instance, J.I., for instance, or FPI, or Luxor Jihad, they couldn't exist really without the support and without the cover or involvement of certain groups.
Yeah, of course, this is what we call it, the networks. So the cooperations and the collaborations between this extremist group can be created. So can be created
Yeah.
in the passive. But don't forget that collaborating and cooperating with this extreme group, it seems like to create a monster.
Right.
And then one day the monster is stronger and uncontrollable. They are going to eat us.
Yeah. Well, isn't that some way the case? I mean, bombings
I
in
think
Bali,
so
civilians.
for the time being, the case is not ready to that level. I think that whether there's someone, or the vested interest group or the political group, use these extremists to create destabilizations, bombing, terror, and so on. But until today, I can say that this political vested group is still have what we call it, the capacity to control this.
Do you believe that SBY is trying to get them under? I mean, he would know this, right? He's the president of the country. He would know this.
Let's see.
Do you believe that he's trying to get it under control?
One thing that I will compare between the government of Suharto and SBY. Suharto is knowing that he needs a very, very strong intelligence services under his command, under his control. And for getting that, he's using the compartmentations. It means that he used the style of using many intelligence factions to get
the military intelligence,
military, civilian intelligence, and also the mystical intelligence to get to be able to compare. And then it can be seen that the intelligence of Suharto is so strong
at that
time.
Yeah.
Until maybe but he lack of also sense of the what we call it, the development of strategical circumstances, especially in economy, because the weakness of the Suharto's intelligence system is the economic intelligence. And in this case, during this 1 year of Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono's government, I can feel that the intelligence is not very strong.
Right.
So I can say even that the intelligence is not used in the optimum level by SBY, and I don't know why. Maybe he is not very fond with the intelligence community, or he is not able to find someone he's confident to become. He's trusted to become
Pachuanda, we got to take a break. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to pick out more on this intelligence and what SBY is doing at present. Don't go away. We'll be right back. You're back with Moore's Roll and Point Blank, and we're back with Pachuanda, the famed military analyst. Pachuanda, How strong? You know, we left off talking about SBY's intelligence activities and the rest, and lacking thereof. But there has been a huge assault on JI in this country, or extremist groups in this country. We recently saw the liquidation of Dr. Azari. There's a manhunt on for Top and the rest. And a lot of people have been thrown in jail. A lot of financial intermediaries that have been disrupted and the rest. How potent is JI right now? Is its wings clipped, or can it still carry out some pretty heinous activities?
Don't forget that the GI is based on the doctrine. It's based on the, what we call it, the confession. It's based on the what we call it, the convictions. The conviction, not only confession, but conviction. So, talking about these three issues, we can assume that they will be always there.
Hard to eliminate.
Yeah, and
right.
then, you know, during during this period of turbulence, let's say, instability, periods of terms of time, we know that they propagate their convictions. At the same time, they disseminate their professional.
So they got stronger in this period of,
Yeah, I
in the last 7 years.
Why? Because using the Clausewitzian's theory, their action is a guerrilla actions. So they are in the community. They are in the society. They are involved in all part of activities of the community and society.
Yeah. But organizationally, though, have they been disrupted?
No, I don't think so. The organizations will be there, but maybe the network is not very efficient anymore. But I think that they can change. They also, like the organizations, the normal organizations, when they are in the positions of being cornered, they will do something.
So there's a leadership, and some of that leadership has been liquidated, captured, sent wherever they've been sent to, interrogated, and the rest. In your view, the next echelon just moves up.
But the problem is maybe more basic. If the people still protect them, and the people has no consciousness to make a war against them, how can we are able to say that they are in the position of disruptive?
So what you're saying is, when you say the people, you're talking about the Indonesian
The
people, not the military.
Not the military. But also don't forget that the fractions, the political power gamers,
Are playing with them.
Yeah, they will use this extremist group for their vested
So,
interest.
in your opinion, has SBY been effective at all? I mean, since in the last 1 year, has he been effective in?
Look,
in
this is not very, maybe this is not very ethical for me to give the what we call it, to note him. But I remark some things that maybe if I was SBY in the situation like this, I do not want to create a lot of front or a lot of confrontations. He is a very confrontative leader. You know, you can see that he confront the graft. He confront the gamblings. He confront the narcotics. He confront the the bureaucracy. He confront everything. He confront. He has a lot of fronts, and also terrorists. But I think that, you know, when you are like comparing yourself like Napoleon, when Napoleon want to attack or to go to some territorial libidos, his territorial libidos, he used a right man on the right place. Now you are able to see the problem of Indonesia is the problem of statesmanships and leaderships. Because we have no trust to this government.
So different from your opening comments about Suharto, where he did use the right man
Right,
in the right place. And by not doing that and not confronting these issues in the right way and allowing this turbulence to exist, the extremist groups are being supported by other groups for their own purpose, bringing it all together.
I also make one remark about focusing. Why I said the presence of this extremist group is very important, because their actions is effective enough to create the destabilizations, effective enough to break all good image of Indonesia, and also effective enough to break also the network of nations in the world. What is the meaning of the travel warning? What is the meaning of don't go to Indonesia because Indonesia is insecure? What is the meaning of don't invest in Indonesia because there's no...
Well, it all has to do with money, right? It all has to do with the economy.
There's no support of security.
Yeah.
And then after that, also the assumption that this extremist group used by the vested interest political group in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One of the issues that you pointed out is that SBY has been weak in the intelligence, in his use of the intelligence services. One of the most controversial issues today is the reinstatement of the territorial function of the military. Isn't that really necessary in order to disrupt in a very real way, in order to stop the manipulation, because you just extend your tentacles to every nook and cranny in this country? Isn't it actually necessary then?
You know, if it is the order of a president, it means that he thinks that it is necessary.
Do you think it's necessary?
I don't think so. Why? Because I know also the quality of the leaderships and the quality of the statesmanships of the military today. And then I don't think that they are in the positions.
So you think it'll make matters worse?
Yeah,
it will make matters worse?
It will become a worse.
So they will
Why?
be manipulated.
You know, during 7 years of, let's say, post-Suharto's government, the feeling of the people, let's say the general feeling of the people, is not with the army. It's not with the armed forces. They have a very, what we call it, a big, I can say that the distance of armed forces and the people is still big. And you know, this is the problem. It will become a big problem when the armed forces using their style of a territorial command in the Suharto's time. Maybe in the Suharto's time it will be very effective, but not today.
You believe it may be adding fuel to the fire?
Yeah.
In terms of emotions or whatever. And other persons just wrapping this all together, that other persons may try to manipulate that.
Of course. And then the manipulating, fragmenting, instrumenting is all the style of this regime. And then I think also the regime indoctrinates the young officer and then also the officers of today about using this for the purpose of power, political power.
They're learning the wrong things then.
Of course.
But hasn't, this is one of my zinger questions, hasn't Bush been somewhat vindicated in this world today? I mean, he talked a couple years ago about evildoers. In other words, evildoers meaning somebody who will cut your head off and decapitate you, who will stand and say that I'm going to kill you and make the family have tears on TV and the rest. Evildoers kill civilians and the rest. Hasn't he been exactly right, and hasn't he been vindicated by what's been happening?
No, I always think about Bush himself. Maybe he is also evildoers because his regime create a lot of violence in the world. And the violence is not only the case of military, but also civilian.
But wasn't this latent violence?
Let's
Wasn't
say-
it? Wasn't it gonna blow up eventually? Didn't he just?
Yeah, the positive aspect of Bush regime is that we are able to tell and to speak the truth about the relationship between Islam and Christian, about the class and
The taboos have been broken.
the taboos and the class of civilization and so on. That is the positive aspect. But the negative aspect that he promulgates something in the world that create the spreading of violence, the spreading of war, the spreading of conflict. That's why I said that when he assumed someone as evildoers from his perceptions, in the same time, the Iranian regimes or the Syrian regimes or the Libyan regimes considered him also the evildoers because they use another kind of Bible. Maybe Bush used a Bible of Lucifer, Beelzebub, Lilith, and the other one used another Bible with also a lot of satanic force.
Yeah.
So both of them maybe can be assumed as evildoers.
Pachuanda, this is another episode. We got to have you back. We gotta continue with that one. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Here's a guy, ex-military, ex-lieutenant colonel in the Navy, ex-military man, very peaceful guy, and he's watching over as well as anybody can what's going on in this country in the security area. Pachuanda, thanks a lot for being with us.
You're
we
welcome.
appreciate it very much, and we want to have you back. And don't forget to join us next week for another edition of Moore's Roland, Point Blank.
También dudé cuando mejor me divertía. Quizás yo desprecié aquello que no comprendí.